Retribution is out now on the Quest 2. Is it worth your money? Let's talk about it. I'm a random nerd, and here's my review of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Retribution. So I'm going to try to keep this review as spoiler-free as I can, but I will be talking about the story a bit later, so I will let you know when I start spoiling. Now let's get started with the obvious question. Is this a DLC that Skydance is trying to pass off as a new game? In my opinion, no. Sure, the game may look and play the same way, but it's kind of like saying DLC is just a bone lab of Boneworks, because both games...
But it's kind of like saying DLC is just a bone lab of Boneworks, because both games...
This review is going to cover the general gameplay, the new weapons, the new mechanics, new areas, and the story, and generally just what I think about the game. But first, I think I should just talk about this one tiny little thing that's causing a lot of people to have some issues with the game. Just this one tiny little thing. That thing is... The game is obviously unfinished. I mean, it's still playable, and you can play the game from start to finish, but there are so many bugs and issues that can break immersion, which is a VR sin that this company should not be guilty of, given how much of a masterpiece the original game is. Because of its weird release schedule being only available on the Quest 2 right now, with PC VR being released in February, people are speculating that Meta may have, allegedly, made a deal with Skydance to help fund the rest of the game's polishing stage for an early release in time for Christmas sales. I'm not saying this is what happened, but if you want to believe that's what happened, sure, go ahead. This game definitely needs some more time in the developer oven to bake out all the bugs and issues, and I'm hoping this section of the review is outdated by the time this game releases on PC. Because if these bugs are still problematic in the PC release, this game is going to suffer from the riots of hardcore PC VR fans. Just saying. The gameplay is basically the same as the first game. You still go places, collect stuff, stab things, shoot things, but now there's more you can do. I'll elaborate more on the mechanics in future sections, but I'm going to start by talking about how Retribution makes even experienced Saints and Sinners players sweat their balls off. If you think the original game had a lot of walkers, you will be shitting yourself when you see just how many walkers come flying out of nowhere to devour your asshole like it's a Vegas buffet. Retribution takes the original game and cranks up the difficulty by throwing innumerable amounts of walkers at you. In addition to this, some humans and walkers now wear full body armor, which absorb bullets like sponges. What I'm trying to say is, the game is harder now, and you can either take it on like the badass tourist that you are, or sit cowering in a corner with your frying pan hoping another zombie doesn't spawn behind you. Retribution comes with 3 new areas of the roster: Hotel Eclair, Bourbon Street, and the Tower. Yes, you heard me right, you can go to the fucking Tower now! Each of the new areas looks and feels great to play in. All of them feel unique, fleshed out, and are just generally fun to fuck around in. On top of the new areas I just mentioned, there's some original areas that have stuff added to them, but they're mostly for story missions, and don't add much, to be honest. However, what does add a lot to this game is the new night mode. It just adds this whole new level of atmosphere to the game that the original just could not match. Each area feels even spookier to play at night, and your likelihood of being jump scared by a walker coming out of nowhere is even more likely. Now they won't, I use my flashlight to see. They can't surprise me if I can see them. Think again, bitch, because walkers are now attracted to the light from your flashlight, so you better hope your night vision is impeccable. You can of course distract walkers with the newly added flares, or really just anything that makes noise. Now, night mode isn't just there to be scary, because there are some incentives for you to scavenge at night. There's obviously new materials that you can collect at night, but what the game doesn't tell you is that while scavenging at night, you will come across dead bodies of fellow survivors with backpacks full of supplies. They can either have fuck all, or be fully loaded with weapons, meds, and food. Hell, some of them even carry weapons with full durability. Check out this samurai sword I found in one of them. These things are awesome. Now in addition to this, there are now night missions you can do for the exiles you find in the new areas. They're pretty simple: collect X amount of things, get Y things in return, but the rewards they do give you are pretty good. And when you complete all the missions for one area, you can come back to the area and get items you can't normally get in game, such as jugs of protein powder, grenade launcher ammo, or even energy drinks. Now some of them are broken and we can't get all the rewards yet, but even still, this is a cool mechanic. I love this. I want more. All the new weapons are fantastic. All of them. Not one of them is bad. They all feel fantastic to use, and killing walkers with them just feels satisfying as hell. Now I do have my preferences, so I'm just going to list my least favorite to favorite weapons. Number 7, hand grenades. They're cool, but kind of hard to use and redundant when you get the grenade launcher. Number 6, the sawed-off shotguns. They're fun, but a pain in the ass to reload after every 2 shells. Number 5, the gloves. You can punch walkers now, and it's fun, but tiring. Number 4, the safari rifle. Just watching zombies explode on a body shot is just so satisfying. Number 3, the grenade launcher. I don't need to explain why this thing is awesome. You shoot something, and everything within a 2-foot radius goes boom. Number 2, the SMGs. Both of them feel fantastic to use, but honestly the custom SMG has just now replaced the 9mm pistol I used to have. It's just that fun to use. Number 1, the chainsaw. It's a lot of fun to use. In addition to these new weapons, we have laser sights and suppressors, which look and sound great, with the suppressor silencing your gunfire, making it less likely for enemies to hear you. Everything feels great, well implemented, and fun to use. And honestly, that's all you can really ask for when it comes to new weapons. The performance has a lot to be desired, given that it's only on the Quest 2 right now. Some areas run smooth as butter, but others are kind of laggy. The graphics can either be decent or really, really bad. It depends on the area. Not much else to say. If you're picky about performance and graphics, then just wait until the PC release in February. Alright gamers, you've done it. You've reached the spoiler section. Skip here if you don't want spoilers. The story in the original game was fantastic, and I'd argue this game's story does a great job of continuing it while adding some extra stakes. The storyline, like the original, consists of 2 different stories. One of them follows a group of tower members and exiles who plan to overthrow the tower and stop Mama's tyranny, and the other story is just the Axemen and everyone else. I'll explain the story when the PC VR version comes out and I can get better footage from my story explained video, but I just want to quickly share my opinions about some of the main characters in the story. The Axeman. He's terrifying. While he is present throughout the game, I wish we just saw more of him, just physically there. He's omnipresent throughout most of the game, from his first appearance in the studio, to stalking in Via Corolla, to notes on the victims that he's killed, but I just wanted to see him more physically in the game. Maybe instead of the bells for some areas, he would just chase you down and force you to leave. That would have been terrifying. Now that being said, the boss fight with him is awesome, and has crafting mechanics that honestly I would not expect to be using in a boss fight in this game. Yes, you still have to shoot him, but now you have to shoot him and be smart with how you build things to shoot him with. It's fucking genius. His character feels pretty well written and thought out. Sonny's character was good, but he also felt the least significant out of all the characters in the game. One of the things I thought we were going to get from the trailer was being able to trade stuff with him, given that his name is the Pawn King. But we don't get to do that. He's just there for story, you can see the conflict between him and his daughter, and that's about it. I wish there was more done with him. He was interesting. Now, Father Carter felt pretty absent from the story. Even though he was pretty emphasized in the opening dream sequence of the game, he's just not there. We see him in the opening mission at like the highest point of his life. Oh my god, we're gonna turn Hotel Eclair into the safe haven, haha, everything is great, praise Jesus. And then one more time when he's shit-faced drunk where he's like, everything's gone to shit, Mama killed everyone I love, please kill me now. And it just sucks that we don't see more of him outside of these instances. I just wish there was more of his character. The Revolution members were cool. I don't know what else to say about them. I'd argue that Mama's character is definitely the best written between these 2 games, and it shows in your first and final talk with her at the finale of the game. She's built up as and revealed to be the most important and significant character in these games. Not the tourist, not anyone else, her. All the conflict in New Orleans between the tower and everyone else, that was her fault. May, Garrick, JB were all results of her showing mercy, and her decisions after that are what caused all this conflict in the city. The lead up to her discussion and death was honestly pretty satisfying, and it was a good conclusion to Retribution. And with Mama's death, I'm assuming this is the end of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners as a franchise. The story felt well written and thought out, and while I would have liked to see more of some characters, what we have is really satisfying, and honestly a really good conclusion for these 2 incredible games. So what's my overall opinion about this game? It's honestly a really good sequel. Yeah, it's kind of buggy right now, but the developers are working on it, rest assured. Is it better than Chapter 1? I'm kind of torn if it is or isn't. The game is good, it has all the mechanics from Chapter 1, but I can't necessarily say Chapter 2 is better than Chapter 1 just because it has more mechanics and gameplay, as the reason it exists is because of the success and the beautiful, beautiful game that's Chapter 1 of Saints and Sinners. Would I recommend it though? Probably not right now. I'd say give it a good couple months or wait until the PC VR release and then play it. And with that, that is the conclusion of my review. I'll be streaming the PC release in February, and will be using that footage for my story explained video when I finish putting together a script for it. Until then, expect some other content, as this channel is not just Saints and Sinners content. Trust me, I'd go insane if that's all I made. And with that, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next video or live stream, as I'm live every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Until then, have a good night, y'all.